Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you are all doing good. And today I'm back with reviving my garden series after a few days, you know. And in today's video, I'll be repotting up a plant which I've neglected for quite some time. It's died back a lot, but it's pushing out new growth from the base. This is an monstera adansonii, or a Swiss cheese plant. So this was the initial growth of the plant which I had earlier on, but with my neglect I managed to almost kill it. But with the for the past few days I've been looking after them and watering them quite nicely, so it's given out a few shoots from the base. And so we'll be repotting this today. I will be repotting it in the same pot, you know, because I didn't have any pot at hand, and I really didn't want to, upsize the pot at the moment. So I didn't have any pot. I usually prefer terracotta pots, but I didn't have one, so we'll be using the same pot. And let's take it out of the this pot and see how the soil is. So I'll be changing the soil mix also. So this is planted in a very basic garden soil mix. It doesn't have any kind of amendments added to it. I must have potted it just as is. So we'll be changing the soil mix, and let's get rid of this one. So this has got nice roots. I was not expecting this much root growth, to be very frank, with the amount of leaves that it has lost with time. I was like, maybe it's died back or something. So I was quite happy with the root growth. And we'll be using a moss pole, will help the vine climb up the moss pole. And maybe those, it has nodes on it, so it can maybe produce more roots, and it can grow more buds and more leaves from the top part as well. So this moss pole, I've made it on my own. I've just used a basic garden hedge or fencing thing, and I filled it with sphagnum moss which we get locally. This is a very basic sphagnum moss. I soaked it in water for some time, and then I drained it, and I filled the pole with it. It just has sphagnum moss, nothing else. So I'm just refilling it a little bit because the part which was supposed to go inside the pot, it was not filled to the top properly, to the base. It was empty at the base. So the lowest part, we'll be putting it in the soil mix. The same will I'll try. This is going to be my first time I'll be trying to pot a pole like this. So we'll be using a very draining soil mix. I'm putting in a few leca balls at the base because the spot has a lot of drainage holes, and the soil mix that I'm planning to use, there's a possibility that it could go out from those drainage holes, and it will affect the soil level in the longer run, because as I'll water those, there's a chance that the soil will move out from the draining holes. So I'm putting leca balls at the base. So this is going to be an experiment, like not an like I've seen videos of other guys on YouTube, so that is where I got the idea from. So I'm just not sure how I'll be planting it, because I really wanted to use this soil mix, but I could see that I have an idea, because this soil mix was not going to just get inside the pole on its own. So I'm trying to get it inside first, and then maybe plant use plant the sapling around it. So this is my first try, and I could see that the base of the pole was not filling properly. So I'm just trying to, because just fill the soil mix but the gap in this is too much, and the soil mix was not getting in properly. And while I was trying to shift the pole around, I've managed to mix the leck up in the soil mix. So yeah, let's get rid of that, and I'll filter out the leca balls later on. So now I'm just maybe I thought maybe I should fill it up with the bottom part of the pole with leca balls itself, and because there were some big size leca balls, so I thought maybe they'll stay put. And so yeah, I'm just trying to get the chunkier ones, the big sized leca balls. And I'm just trying to get all the big ones, big leca balls. So I've somehow managed to just use the leca balls in the base part of the pole, and now I've completely missed the idea which I had initially to put leca balls in the base. I'm just straight away putting in the soil mix without covering the drainage with leca balls, and you'll see I've failed to realize it while I was repotting. And I'm just trying to manage the vines, and I'm covering the roots from all the sides. I'm not tying the moss pole with any support at the moment because it was quite stable on its own. So I didn't put any sort of support for the pole, which I should have, because I cannot. I'm basically using this pole because I've seen them, seen other YouTubers. They can extend the pole if the plant, grows to the height of the pole. Because otherwise, when you buy a store bought pole, you have to change the whole pole from the base. You cannot, extend the height. At least not in the poles that I get from around my nurseries. So I really like the idea of extending the poles, and that is why I'm trying it now. So this is a test run for this pole and a trial plant, and I'm growing this plant because as this plant climbs up the moss pole, it'll give bigger leaf size, and I'm really looking forward to it, that it gets to be a successful experiment, and we'll get a very good plant out of it. So I'm just trying to get as much soil as I can. I'm trying to compress it with my fingers, with that knitting needle that I usually use to press the soil. And I'm leaving a little bit of gap, a little bit of lip at the top for watering purpose. I'm trying to get the soil mix inside the pole at this point, because I could see there was a little bit of gap in between the leca balls. So if this soil mix get inside, it won't. It will be good for the plant. The roots can go inside as well. I'm just trying to push in the chunkier bits of that orchid bark. And we are done with the first step of repotting this plant, which is to get the roots in the soil mix. And next part is going to be tying the vines along with the moss pole, and I'll be using maybe a jute twine to tie the plant. So the basic idea is that these are basically aeroids, so they tend to grow a lot of roots along the stem, and I want to get as much surface area touching the moss of the plant as much it is possible, because each node that will touch the moss pole, there's a chance that roots will grow from that node, and it will help the plant absorb more nutrients. We'll water the moss pole on a regular basis, so yeah, it will. And maybe we can get more plants out of it. We can propagate more plants, because more nodes mean more leaf out points. So yeah, we'll get a much more bushy plant like that. So I'm tying the vines using jute twine. So I had that twine at hand, so I'm just using it. I'm just just twisting the vine around the moss pole, because it's a long stem, so it won't. So if I just keep it straight, it will exceed the length of the moss pole. So I'm just tying it around the moss pole, turning it around the moss pole. See, it's like this. It's almost reaching the top, and see, as you can see over here, there's a node. There's a leaf. There's a chance that a leaf will grow out from this node. So I'm just tying the top of the longer vine. And let's tie the leaves also, the leafy part of the vine. There's no special trick to it. I'm just finding a good support point for the vine, and I'm just tying at that point. You can use a lot of things. There are clips which are available in the market. There are other support tools you can buy online or from local nurseries. I didn't had anything else at hand, so I'm just using this very age-old twine, which is come actually really. I find it very reliable, so I don't mind using it. I'm just trying to straighten out the stem. And we are done with the repotting of this monstera adansonii. So talking about the watering, I'll be watering it on a regular basis. So it will be placed in a area which gets some dappled sunlight, not in complete sun, maybe a little bit of morning sun, and that is it. I'll be spraying the moss pole a couple of times in the next few days, and then maybe I'll just drench it in the morning nicely, and that'll be it. And I'll update you as soon as it shows nice growth, and I hopefully it does soon. And that is it for today, guys. Thank you for watching my video. If you do like it, please subscribe to my channel. Bye bye.